welcome to Talking About It. I'm John Griffith.
I'm Cara Kilduff.
And we are joined by two very special guests. One who is something of a fixture here and somebody brand new to us, but a wonderful person nonetheless. Tom Ragu.
Oh, me? Oh, hi.
Und Constance Hauman. Ja, willkommen zu unserer Show.
Yeah, thank you so much.
You're so
Kidding, I
welcome.
don't have an accent.
Yes, she does.
Welcome. It's so
Thank you.
wonderful to have you here
Thank you for having
on a chilly,
me.
windy night with all the barricades in the way to getting here. Sometimes it's a little tough to get into the building, but it's all for a good purpose. But sometimes it could be
we were very
annoying.
distracted by Dunkin' Donuts, and we had a little bit of a
Oh, really?
Dunkin' Donuts incident, but we got through it. That's what
Were
happened.
any
Because there's a Dunkin' Donuts in the lobby. I don't know if anybody, people
Were
at
any
home
munchkins
know
harmed in this?
And
were there any chocolate
chocolate
glazed?
donuts.
Really? Dirty whore. Yeah. Once in a while, you gotta have one in the face.
Right. That's okay. We
Was it fresh, or did it taste like it was sitting all day?
It was awful. It was stale.
Ugh. That's why you need the coffee to dunk it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's the Monica Dunkin' Donuts. Disgust.
they're dropping the donuts from the name.
It's
I
so
know
dumb.
why.
Dunkin' now. I know.
Yeah.
Stupid.
I know.
It's
I don't
like, ugh. You know who started that crap? I blame Rachel Ray.
Millennials
Yeah.
and the post-millennials.
But
Those goddamn millennials.
It goes, I mean, their slogan, America runs on Dunkin', which is nice.
Ain't nobody runs on Dunkin' Donuts.
Nobody runs on it.
You sit lethargically on Dunkin'.
The only thing that runs on Dunkin' is diabetes. Diabetes runs on Dunkin'.
Unless they need their
The
coffee.
sugar.
Finger prick runs on Dunkin', but people don't run on Dunkin'.
People don't run on Dunkin' Donuts.
Maybe they run in the coffee. I don't know.
Not even. It always
Personally,
tastes
I'm not a
burnt.
fan.
I don't like it.
No, don't like it.
No.
I like
So
such
how
a-
are you guys? It's been a very slow week.
You're a dick. It's been a slow week. How are you?
Just trying to focus the conversation. Because you ever see talk show hosts interview talk show hosts? Like, you ever see back in the day when Oprah would interview, like, let's say Jon
Okay,
Stewart?
knock it off.
Jon Stewart.
Knock it off. There's no agenda. There's no agenda. We will be pimping her out soon enough.
No.
What are you, her manager?
It's just very funny. It's just very funny when talk show hosts interview talk show hosts.
Is it battle for control?
No, well, sometimes.
Maybe in Tom's mind. I don't know. I think he's got an agenda.
I have no agenda. I'm perfectly happy where I am. At beatboxradio.com.
But you're not using your radio voice.
No, he's not.
beatboxradio.com. I gotta turn it on.
No, I feel like I'm in that studio. Except Laura's not in there like, should I have this chocolate chip cookie or should I not have the cookie? See? Yeah.
Totally.
Accurate.
Hey, can you try to switch the camera too? Okay, that was very loud.
Anyway.
Going to camera too.
Well, we weren't here last month. We were
We were
dark.
Thanksgiving.
Yes.
How was everybody's Thanksgiving? What'd you do?
What did I do?
Yeah, where
I
were you?
went to visit my family. Went to see my family in Lexington, Kentucky, and then drove to Toledo, Ohio, where I'm from. Did the rounds.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah. No, it was nice.
That's a lot.
It was like being in Germany. No kidding. It was fine. It was fun.
Were you driving alone or did you have
No.
Okay, good. You had some crew.
I had my mom and my stepdad were driving. My sister and I were in the back seat, reliving being 10 and 8 years old.
Oh my God.
Texting each other in the back seat. Sorry if they watch this.
That is awesome.
No, we were like, oh my God.
She's in my seat.
Can you
She's in my
believe? Can you
seat.
believe?
Stop.
Can you believe
No,
how
it's
slow we're going?
No, but that's what's, you know what, but that's really great.
How they're driving now? Send.
No,
Oh my
that's what's
God,
great
Dad is
about
swerving.
That's what's great about holidays and being around your parents and relatives, because no matter how old you are suddenly like 10.
Yeah. It's,
I mean, they don't
like
see you. It's like, oh my God, like you don't realize how old I am?
No,
I have to come back there. You're going to regret it.
you're always going to be your mother's baby.
Yeah, it's hilarious. So, like, it's automatic regression. So
Regression therapy.
yes, regression therapy.
Even with Mama Ragu, I mean,
Nuh-uh.
there are times when Mama Ragu, who, just celebrated a very big birthday. She had her 88th birthday.
That's amazing.
wow.
Happy birthday, Mama Ragu.
Oh, yeah.
Birthday,
Happy
Mama Ragu.
birthday.
But there are times when, she'll say to me, she'll just remind me of something that is like so childish, like don't forget to shut the light before you go to bed. Like, okay, yeah, I generally will. Lock the door, lock the door when you leave.
Well, she.
That's something that can be forgotten. That's a little bit more to the point than shut the light up before you get to bed.
It also sounds like you still need me.
Yeah, and I just don't need her. And she's a wonderful lady.
Did Pete cook for Thanksgiving?
Pete did not cook for Thanksgiving. Pete was the recipient of a beautiful turkey dinner for Thanksgiving.
Oh,
So we made extra turkey for him.
he didn't have his own.
Pete, my dog.
I was away from mine. I mean, I was very happy to see my sister, see my aunts, see my cousins, see my mom, but I didn't have my children with me, which are two little dachshunds, miniature long-haired dachshunds, Dewey and Louise. They were without me, and I even felt bad leaving them tonight. So they were alone for Thanksgiving. I'm not sure they had any treats.
No, these are famous dogs. These dogs had a write-up in the New York Post.
They did.
These are not like Pete Ragu, where I have to constantly go to facebook.com/pete.ragu to make a friend. These are famous dogs that had a write-up in the New York Post.
Why?
Marvelous.
Because I got stopped walking them in Central Park, and they featured us in the pet section, and because they're so adorable, they're twins, and it looks like they're mother and daughter. So I can't tell you how many times people have said, oh, "Is that a mother and a daughter?" It's like, nope. How can that one be so small? Because I found out runts are the first one to be born, not the last. Did not understand
after
that.
the show's over, I'm going to ask to see pictures, right?
Oh yeah, I got them. I have so many. But they really are adorable. One is really the oldest one, who's the tiniest one, who everyone thinks is the youngest one, is the oldest by 1 minute. And she's exactly half the size of her sister. And they're quite a pair.
What color are they?
English creams. Actually, the color of my hair, which is really embarrassing, when you realize, oh my God, it's true, you look like your dog. I mean,
There's this guy that I keep seeing
like
now
hair, it's like mine.
on Central Park West. He's got this gray beard with black streaks in it that he combs out, and he has a schnauzer that looks the same. And I'm
No,
like,
it's
dude,
true.
you look like your dog.
No, I mean, like, they're really cute. So, I mean, hopefully if people go, oh, that woman looks just like her dogs, they're not saying like the ugly version of the dogs, but it's the same hair. That's pretty crazy.
Oh my God, I
But
can't
they're
wait
very
to see
adorable.
pictures.
And that's the worst part about being on tour, doing anything, is leaving them. It's traumatic.
Who do you leave them with when you're on tour?
They have
Constance
a
is a
baby.
musician.
They have a babysitter. He was wonderful. Uncle Brian, I'm giving you a shout out. And they love him. And the last time I left to go do these, well, it might have been for Thanksgiving, they jumped in my suitcase like, we've had it, you're not going. And they were running around in circles and just like, no, leave us, no. And I said, Uncle Brian's coming. And they went. They totally got it.
Oh yeah.
And then they were totally fine.
Have you ever brought them with you on tour?
No. I have too much to do, and they're too distracting because they're barking and hilarious, and
A lot of
they're
hotels.
actually on some of them.
Being on tour is a very hard life, and it's not for the dogs.
No, touring
It really
is
isn't.
touring is super hard, especially when you're crazy enough like me to be the tour manager, the record label, the vocal coach. I play keys in the band. I'm the band leader. I mean, it's like a little nutty.
You're wearing a lot of hats.
Wearing a lot of hats, and they require a lot of my attention. And they're actually on one of my records because they sing. And on actually on my new record, they're on the title track, High Tides. Everyone's like, or I should say everyone, people who produce music will go, wow, that's such a cool plug-in. What is that? It's like, my dogs, with a lot of reverb and delay going backwards, and they sound sort of like whales.
That's amazing.
Stop it.
No, I'm not kidding. It added
They're
the
on- they're on this?
They're in High Tides. They're in the title track.
Oh my God.
They make up some of the soundscape,
Oh wow.
but they actually,
Where is it?
and they're dedicated. There's a little dedicated. They're in the thank yous because for providing background vocals. But I have to actually attribute them to me switching from opera to different genres because they definitely respond to resonance and high notes, and I would say operatic singing, but now I like to say it's just, I mean, I also coach singers and work with singers, so it's just classical technique applied to different styles. But when they hear the resonance, they go completely crazy. I mean, like, it's so, they carry on.
Okay,
So
this
I
is-
started singing a different way, thinking, oh God, these dogs, I can't stand it. And I started writing my own stuff. I mean, I'm joking halfway because they were an inspiration even for that, for getting into all of this.
This is the crazy thing about Constance is that in my online stalking research, there was a piece of video about you. I was floored, actually. I was like, holy shit, this is like, wow. My sister-in-law is also a soprano, like gorgeous. I can pick her out, and she used to sing with the Texas Bach Choir, and I can pick her voice out like immediately. But you got your big break by Leonard Bernstein.
Yes.
And tell me what it was. It was Candide, right?
I wish this were a short story, and I've never figured out how to tell it in a short way because it's so crazy. But it was the only time he ever conducted Candide
It was in London.
in London. And how can I tell it quickly?
The other person was sick. They had the flu.
She was sick. She had the flu.
She had the shits.
And, everything.
Constance coughed in her face and she became sick.
No, I wish. I wish that had been the case.
But you got
she
this
instead sabotaged me.
But you got this last minute call
Yes.
to do this.
Yes.
Was it from him?
Yes. But
That's crazy.
It is crazy because.
How did you know him before?
Because, well, I got to tell one little tiny
Okay.
fact because it's interesting.
I'm
It's
excited
bizarre.
about this.
I started piano really early, like 6. And my piano teacher, who was also a composer, a woman, and her daughter was a pianist, and she was married to the pianist Andre Watts. And he was a friend of our family because my mother is a wonderful musician and singer, and so she's the one who also, I make fun of the driving in the car, but there was a much bigger picture. So anyway, the Andre got his big break on the Young People's Concerts because Glenn Gould got sick, and Lenny put him on, and it was the first time there had ever been an African-American classical pianist on public television, or on television, what am I saying, beyond public television. And I watched that so many times, not only because I knew him, but because it's a fantastic moment, and I would, oh my God, it would be so amazing if that ever happened to me. So the years later, I had just started my career, and I was singing in Canada at the Canadian Opera, and Jerry Hadley had said to me, have you ever sung Candide? Because I'm doing it in 2 years with Bernstein in London. I was like, well, I know the aria, and I've auditioned with it a lot. So I was like, there's no way I'm going to get on that list. So somehow I got on this list of possible Cunegondas, and I went to my manager's or agent's house and auditioned for this woman from Deutsche Grammophon, because they were putting out the recording. And I was on my way to Europe to do my first contract. It was in Paris at Théâtre Champs-Élysées, where I was playing Jamie and William Tell, where, you know, at the kid, where they shoot the app on the set. And she said, when you're in Paris, I need you to make a video so I can give to the team and give to Bernstein. So I was like, oh my God. So I did Glitter and Be Gay. I saw Glitter and Be Gay. I made the video, saw myself on it, and thought, oh, and cried and said to my manager, please don't send this to anyone. Don't do it. Oh, that's the one time he really did something good. He sent it anyway. And then another year goes by, and I have to put the most important part in it. It was that a friend of mine who was a psychic and a card reader had who I had met at the same time that I was singing at the Canadian Opera. And so it was right after Jerry Hadley said, you should do this Candide. I go to have my cards read, and he said, I see you in this moment of destiny with a conductor like a very famous conductor, like a Bernstein in a huge city. I was like, okay, I know how this works. You're reading my mind, because I just had this going, swirling around me. Like,
Yeah.
So every time we went there and we'd do the cards and he was teaching me as well, it was like, nope, this is huge. It's going to be like your whole life encapsulated in this one weekend. And I believed it so much that I was getting other offers for like Deflator Mouse at the Skylight Theater in Milwaukee and things like that. And I said, no, I don't want to do it, because I need to be available on December 9th through the 13th, 1989.
crazy.
So everyone's like, that's crazy. You're cuckoo. My fiance at the time was like, you're nuts.
Are you basing this just on what the site
Yes,
told you? Oh.
totally. And because I'd watched that tape over and over again of Andre. And like, I had also moved to New York because Andre Watts let me live in his apartment for a year and take care of things for them. So I was, at that piano that had his vibe on it. So I was like into all of this.
Oh my
ooey-gooey
God.
stuff. So very quickly, because there's like I said, long story. I look like an idiot because of course they don't hire me. It's June Anderson, who was a huge singer at the time, and I'm not even the understudy. So I was like, oh God, I'm an idiot. I have no work. Everyone's like, say you've turned down all this work. So I was like, wow, this is really a bummer. And so at the time, I was also living in Paris because my fiance, I'd rented his apartment when I went to do a Sing Jamie in William Tell, and I end up married my landlord. And so he'd been making fun of me that, like, what are you doing? This is never going to happen. In the meantime, he's singing in Brussels at Théâtre de la Monnaie. So I was like, well, I'm just going to go visit him and surprise him, because he was making fun of how much luggage I carry with me and hat boxes and crap. So I shocked him and said, well, I'm just going to wear one outfit. And it was a fabulous Agnes Bay coat dress and these Robert Clergerie shoes. And I'm going to just get on the train. For Brussels. Walk into the dressing room at Théâtre de la Monnaie. And I wanted him to go, oh my God, you're here. And instead he was like, hi, someone's been calling me from the London Symphony. He was in makeup because he was going to go on stage because his premiere was that night. He goes, will you please make this call for me? I was like, oh, hi too. So I like, this is what my life's going to be like, married to a baritone. So yeah. So I go out, I keep running into people I know. There's Mark Morris, there's like a girl I knew at Santa Fe, blah, blah, blah. And all the phones are broken because this is before cell phones. Go out to the Place, make a payphone call. Hi, this is Richard Cowan's secretary. Oh, no, we're looking for Constance Hauman, his fiance. That's what I did. I went, oh wait, I'm just kidding. I'm not a secretary. This is Constance. Oh, can you please get to London tonight? Maestro Bernstein would like you here for the dress rehearsal tomorrow. What? And I was like, oh my God, I have no clothes. I've got nothing. And so I go running back into the opera house. I fall down to rip my one pair of pantyhose. Everyone sees me. Richard sees me. He's come off stage. He's like, oh my God, is everything okay? I was like, I gotta go to London. It's happening. So this guy heard me in the hallway because I didn't have a score. I didn't have anything. So this guy's like, I did Candide at City Opera. Come with me. I've got a score, because he was American. So we jump in the cab, we go to his apartment, we get the score, I get on the plane, I arrive in London, I have to sit at customs waiting for them to give me a work permit. I go to the hotel, I sit up all night with my Casio, in my ripped pantyhose, I have no pajamas, I got nothing. And I'm learning. Little do I know that it's the new version that Lenny's written. I'm looking at the City Opera Hall Prince version. They call me, I'd stay up all night. At 10 in the morning, 9 in the morning, they call me to say that Lenny's sick, and so they were going to move the rehearsal from 11 to 10. So they're picking me up like now, and it's 9.
Oh my God.
So I'm like, oh my God, and I one of the things my friend said is when you meet him, you're wearing a coat. So I'm like, okay, how is that possible? So I'm in terrible traffic. This Irish cab driver picks me up. We're going through the streets. It's raining. We're zooming through London. We pull up in front of the Barbican. This guy who's going to be the camera guy, who was very famous at the time, Humphrey Burton, he filmed everything Lenny did. He's like, good God, you're late. So immediately it's like, he became one of my greatest friends, but immediately it was like, why am I even supposed to be here? Like, you don't even know my story.
Yeah.
And he's like, you're late. You rush in there. The doors fling open. And there he is. There's Lenny. Oh, I cried. And I've got on my white coat. And he comes over. He's walking towards me. I'm like, I can't even believe this. He gives me this huge hug. And then he looks at the terror in my face and he goes, you don't have to pee, kid. Just sing. Because I did have to pee. I mean, it was horrible. I've been in traffic like this.
Oh my God.
So I'm standing there in the whole, and there's Nikolai Gedda, Krista Ludwig, there's Jerry Hadley going, because he's the one who had told me 2 years before, you should do this.
Yeah.
The orchestra, so I sing Glitter McGee in my coat. I haven't warmed up or anything, but I hit it out of the park. And then I had to say Maestro. I don't know the rest of the role. I just know the duets. Good God, somebody get her in a room with the assistant conductor. Right at that moment, I saw a woman in a pink suit get up and run out. That was June Anderson. Sorry, June. That was June Anderson's personal assistant who went and told her the orchestra had given me a standing ovation and blah, blah, blah. So all day long, I'm drilling with Lucas Brown, who was a genius to help me learn it so fast. But I kept praying, please, dear God, if I had a good night's sleep or another day, I could really nail it, because this was the public dress rehearsal. So they were using me for the dress rehearsal so that June could, who was sick, could do the next night, which was the performance. So
the assistant probably went back and said, this lady
yes.
is amazing.
So you know what happened? June came on stage. I'm ready. I think I can just sing the aria again and do the duets, and then I'm going to be cross-eyed sight reading. And just when I was ready to walk out on stage, June showed up. She went out. She sang the aria. She sang the two duets
And
that
this
I
was
knew.
at the public dress rehearsal?
Yes, 2,000 people. And she fainted.
Ha ha. Sorry.
Exactly. Great. And then I have to come out like this with only the stuff I don't know. And I mean, when I tell you failure, I mean failed. It was a fail. And all the people around Lenny to protect him, and everyone was like, oh my God. And they stopped the rehearsal, and everyone's yelling at me. And I'm like, I can't believe this. This is like a psychic
Well, she's
nightmare.
the bitch that got sick.
I know.
It's not your fault.
But I was like, what a psychic nightmare. Like, what am I doing? And Jerry says to me, go in his dressing room, knock on his door, tell him the whole thing. I was like, I can't go in there. There's all these people around. And I had my moment. He literally like pushed me, and I knocked on the door. I was like, oh my God. My knees were like, and they're like, come in. It was Lenny. And I walked down and go, Maestro, and he goes, you think you can do this? And I was like, I know I can do it. And then I tell him about Andre. I tell him, just start blabbing. I tell him about the psychic and all this stuff. And then he asked me, do you sing Lulu? And I was like, what? Lulu? I'd never even thought of singing Lulu, and that became one of my most famous roles. And then he asked, he goes, what else do you sing? And I was like, huh? So Rose and Cavalier, we were going through the thing.
He was interviewing you.
Yeah.
Like a job interview.
He was.
Are you familiar with
But
the
I was thinking like he's trying to say like, don't do this, And then I said, I know I can do it. I just need sleep. He's like, where did you come from? I mean, I'm trying to explain to him. And then someone knocks on his door and he goes like this, don't fuck up. And I knew he was going to let me do it. So then I come out, and everyone was on me like piranha, or like the birds. I was like, all these people going, like, who are you? What are you doing? It was awful. And
You poisoned the soprano.
yes, exactly. So I go back to my hotel, and I'm like, please, dear God, I just need, because the next night was the first night. And I'm like, I don't have any clothes. I'm wearing the same thing every day. And Frank, the psychic, had said, you're wearing a blue dress. I was like, I never wear blue. It was
You were
royal
wearing
blue.
a blue dress.
Yes. So guess what happens? They call me again at 7 a.m. and wake me up and say, we found another soprano who's done this version with the Scottish Opera, and we're going to have both of you perform for the cameras. Lenny's not going to conduct because he's sick. We're bringing in Lucas. So I was like, because the other thing that came in the reading was that you're not on the recording, something happened. So I was like, this is my moment. I at least got to meet him and be alone with him in his dressing room, and now I'm going to go back and cry my eyes out that it didn't turn out the way I thought. So I performed. This was, MTV days, 1989. I was obsessed with Prince, obsessed with Madonna, obsessed with MTV. So I thought, F it. I'm going to perform like it's for, and I'm on MTV. Because the other soprano was like very, what you think of opera.
Yeah.
And
More figgy pudding.
yes, more figgy pudding. And then I was like, I don't care. And then I stormed off like the little 28-year-old wannabe diva. Like there, I showed them, and then I'm the whole time like, and I go walking out, and Humphrey comes running after me and says, no, that was fantastic. We need you to be on standby tonight. And I said, but I don't even have a contract. I don't have anything. And we're going to sort it out. I said, I have a bigger problem. I have nothing to wear. He goes, well, I said, I have nothing to wear. Why would I? He goes, go. So the orchestra manager's sister had a dress hire shop. And they get me in the car with Humphrey, and we're driving through the streets, and we get to Islington, where her dress hire shop was, and in the window is
Your dress.
my blue dress. I go, oh my God, that's my dress. He's like, what? I go, that's my dress. Walk in, fit, jewelry. And then I was like, what am I going to do about my shoes? And I thought, oh my God, because I remember Grace Kelly did something I was obsessed in. It might have been in Rear Window, where I took the strap and put it under and stood on top of my shoes so it looked like I had pumps.
Yeah.
Because that dress, what's cut up the front, you can't have straps. I mean, that cuts the line off. It's bad.
It's bad. It's
So
bad.
zoom back to the Barbican. They make me up for TV. I'm sitting there, and then all of a sudden everyone's like, oh my God, she's there. June was going to do it.
But she still had the shits, right?
She was still sick. She
pooped
was
her
going to
pants?
do it because they heard knew that I was ready to go. So they, not kidding. Oh God, she can't see you. I was like, why? I'm being on. No. So they open the door, go in there. Broom closet.
What are you, the redheaded stepchild? You're
I'm
blonde.
the broom closet.
Oh my God.
And literally, the door opens to the broom closet, and it's Krista Ludwig. I mean, I listened to her over and over again because of my mother, like the idol of, and she goes, it's never over till it's over. Door closes. And then I'm like standing there, what do I do? And then I hear it start. So can I come out now? And I stand there with Humphrey and everyone backstage watching the cameras, and everyone's doing this on stage. Jerry is. Lenny's got a handkerchief. June is like, sick. Wow. So he looks at me. Humphrey says, you're going to sing tomorrow. So I was like, well, when can I go? I just want to go to bed. So just before the last beautiful Make Our Garden Grow, he said, you can go now. So I go outside, raining, go like this for a cab. I am not kidding. Same cab driver. He'd been driving cabs in London for 35 years, never gotten the same person. So I said, if I sing tomorrow, I'll give you my tickets. And this was before we were talking about this car on the way here. There was no social media, there was no YouTube, there was no cell phones, because had there been all those things, I think my opportunity would have been robbed by all the people who would have been like, oh my God, she can't do it. Lenny had faith in me, and he loved this type of stuff. He did it repeatedly with people to just shove them out and give them a chance. But had there been social media, too many naysayers would have effed the whole thing up. So I took my phone off the hook, and at 3 p.m, they were pounding on the door going, you've got to get up because the orchestra's calling you, you're on tonight. But then I knew I wouldn't be on the recording because Jerry was sick. So both stars were sick, and they were flying in another tenor from Berlin, Donald George. And I got my moment, went on, and the Emperor of Japan was there.
What?
And I had my moment, and I nailed it.
Was it Hirohito or his son?
Yes.
Wow.
And then at the end, which at some point I'm going to put the whole concert up on YouTube, Lenny whispered in my ear, you forgot a word. Oh. And now I live next to Leonard Bernstein Way.
But wait, because you did that role, like I was reading, that became like one of your signature.
Yeah, then I did it
wow.
everywhere.
That's crazy.
And then he died 6 months after that. That's the most important part. Like,
my
I got my
God.
big chance. And he did cast me in L'Enfant les Sortilèges with the London Symphony, but because he died, I got to do it with Michael Tilson Thomas, also one of his protege. So he's huge influence on why I've done all that.
And so you went from being an opera singer, and then you decided to switch gears and.
Well, let's get to that in a minute. You sent me an online clip that I have a copy of. So we're gonna take a look at that clip right now. We're gonna take a look at about a minute of it. I think it goes back to the story that you told.
Yeah, sure.
The masked beauty sees herself compelled to glitter, forced to be gay.
Glitter and be gay. That's the part I play. Here I am in Paris, France, forced to bend my soul to sordid wrong, victimized by bitter circumstance. Alas for me, and I remained beside my lady mother, my fortune remained unstained until my maiden my son, Grand Duke. Oh, 'twas not to be harsh necessity brought me to this gilded cage. And to hide me, I drop my wings, singing of sorrow, nothing but a switch. And yet must I ran to revel. I have no strong objection to champagne. My wardrobe is expensive as the devil. Perhaps it is ignoble to complain. Enough of being basely tearful. I'll show my noble stuff by being bright and cheerful. Pearl and ruby rings. Oh, how can worldly things take the place of honor lost? Can they compensate for my fallen state, purchased as they were at such an, oh God, bracelet
I just want to remind you that you are watching Talking About. I'm John Griffith.
I'm still Cara Kilduff.
And we're here with Tom Ragu and Constance Hauman.
My name is Meredith Vieira. Welcome to The View.
Meredith, you've changed. 7 seconds on T.
Take a little time to enjoy The View.
Okay, so you started an opera. How long did you pursue that? And then what made you want to switch?
It wasn't even like, I'm gonna say so I'll try to tell this fast too. I don't have a short story, which is a real problem.
No, it's not a problem.
No, but I mean, I sang lots of different roles. One of the things that drove me crazy about singing opera is there is the FOC system, fondly known as the fucked system by most opera singers, which is that you are especially when you're in Europe and in Germany especially, you only sing this role. You can't sing the other roles. So like I sang Kate Pinkerton in the Madame Butterfly movie, that's a mezzo role, but I was really known as a coloratura. And then people would ask me to do very interesting things, and my managers would say, well, if you do that, then no one's going to think of you as that. I mean, just actors get that too.
Did you feel limited by that?
Yes. So I always said, screw it, and I'm going to do what someone's asking me to do. Obviously, this opportunity is here for a reason. So I feel really, really lucky because I worked with amazing directors and new composers. I've done a lot of new pieces, and very super cool productions like the Lulu that Lenny asked me to sing Lulu, and I did a very famous production of Lulu at the Queen of Denmark's castle, which is the only live recording of that opera. Still, it's being issued on Chandos. And I made a lot of classical recordings, some of them which aren't out anymore and many that are. So I was always super interested in recording and troubled by the fact that classical artists didn't have much say in the labels they were on for operas. If you were so lucky to, you never wanted to make waves because you were lucky enough to even get that opera onto a recording. So I also was a pianist, but I could not play by ear. But I always heard music in my head and heard music all the time. And I was really good at learning things quickly. So I was always interested in the whole score, not just the soprano part. And it was very frustrating I was so spoiled by working with Bernstein because I thought, oh, wow, everyone's going to be like this. I mean, knowing no one's like him, but not understanding the resistance to a lot of conductors who aren't composers themselves, don't want singers to ask questions, and you just do how they want you to do it rather than interpret it. So all of this led me to not understand how much music I had intuitively in me. And so Gary Marshall, his sister died today, Penny Marshall. But Gary Marshall was a great supporter, and I felt really, really fortunate because I did the first opera he ever directed, the Grand Duchess, a French operetta, and I did it at LA Opera where I had to speak with a lisp, and the whole script was in English, but I had to sing in French. And
did you have to sing with a lisp?
No, he didn't, fortunately didn't, but he couldn't find a soprano who would lisp, and he very famously told people, he didn't care how I sang. He goes, obviously she can sing, people know who she is, but can she lisp? So I said, do you want a frontal lisp? Lisp. And he said, she's got the job. So I was supposed to do some whacked out Alice in Wonderland modern piece at the LA Opera at the same time, and instead, thank God, I got jerked out of that and got to work with Gary. And then he invited me to do my one-woman show at his theater at the Falcon and in Toluca Lake. And then a few years after that, he called out of the blue and said, would you like to play Florence in Souvenir, a fantasy on Florence Foster Jenkins? And Florence Foster Jenkins was a very famous act. I have a soprano who could not sing at all and sang off-key.
Yeah.
Meryl Streep, there's the movie she did last year about her. And you wonder, and it's a wonderful play, it won a Tony and all this stuff, so I thought, oh my God, could I do this? I mean, could I really just, after all these years of singing having to be so precise, and especially as a coloratura, your high notes are everything, to sing horribly.
How was that?
Well, first of all, it's the most wonderful play, and I became obsessed with her life and how it related to mine in some ways, and her, because I didn't know anything about her except a person I laughed at parties in college, or everyone listened to the Queen of Night. So it was an incredible experience, and but I was very frustrated because in rehearsal I could just not go there to just, squawk. And the day that it happened, well, not only do I have the picture of Gary Marshall doubled over and blazed into my brain laughing so hard, but I didn't realize it unleashed something in my brain that allowed me to compose, because the part of learning everything perfectly and being a classical musician and all, I couldn't let go somewhere in my brain.
Off of you.
And so suddenly now to sing horribly all the arias, most of the arias I'd actually sung the roles, so to just go for it, I did not realize till a year later, when my whole life fell apart, my personal life fell apart in a disastrous way, and bizarrely, knowing what I knew about Florence's life, she had to start over at exactly the age I had to start over, because she couldn't play the piano. I found out she was a pianist first. She wanted to study in Paris. She had a sister. I have a sister. I lived in Paris. I started on piano first, and she was married to someone who was awful. Don't want to get sued for libel, but similar. And she left him. Her parents didn't want her to marry him, but she ended up leaving him, and she had to make money because her father disowned her for marrying him. She was in a horrible carriage accident, so she couldn't teach piano anymore. And her mother heard about it because the father died. The mother came, and they moved to New York, and she had all this money because now her father was dead, and she started all kinds of foundations for singers in the city, and then she got the cuckoo idea that she was going to be a singer. But I think what it was the display, where she could place all her music, because she had been a legit pianist and played at the White House when she was 8 years old. She also had tinnitus from the mercury she was taking because her husband gave her syphilis. So it was all this was like the last huge thing I did before my life exploded, and I had to really just rethink everything and start over. And I started painting anything I could, like my whole apartment, and painting like murals and colors. And I had the most incredible thing. I don't have synesthesia like way people are born with it, but it has started happening. So this is corny, but it's true. I was on the turquoise and the purples, and I ran to the piano because I heard something in my head, and that was the beginning of me being, it makes me cry, being able to play.
You can't, the lashes.
I can, you're right. Thanks for remembering. Like being able to play by ear, and like this whole,
Everything
world.
just opened up for you.
It was like insane, like this whole other universe opened up.
That's amazing.
That was like, I can't do anything. I got to do this. And like, I still had my opera agents and everything, and they thought oh God, now she's really lost her mind, because I had this one-woman show, and they never really supported it. And then I had the Florence. I had all these things, and they thought I was whacked anyway. So now they like, what? You're doing what? And I started working with singers.
You're a rebel.
Yeah. The band that I play keys in calls me C Diddy. I call myself C Cray. I'm just
so
crazy.
you went from being an opera singer to performing with George Clinton. And I mean, this is amazing.
It's another one. He's like the Lenny story. It's like an idol around that same age that I was, watching young people's concerts and everything. Then because I lived near Detroit, and I went over to one of my friend's houses, and her brother was playing Parliament Funkadelic, and I was like, oh my God, what is this? So I was obsessed with all that, and then now I produced a record for a singer that's worked with me for many years, who has one of the greatest voices ever, and rock voices. And so I built a band around her voice, because a lot of men and male producers were wanting her to sing how she looks. which is tall, thin, and blonde, and not with this huge sort of masculine rocker sound, as well as she can make other beautiful sounds, but this is something that's unique and requires certain arrangements and a certain band and a certain style. So United Sound is a very famous studio in Detroit that was in 2008 when Detroit went down the dumper, like a lot of places in the States, and the studio just fell into disarray and was bought by these two women who turned it into, as much as they could, one of the studios to work, and the rest was a museum because everyone recorded there. Not only all of Parliament's records were recorded there, but Earth, Wind and Fire and Anita Baker and Aretha Franklin, and Jumpin' Jack Flash was recorded there with Rolling Stones. So I thought, this is the only place we should go to get this right. And I hunted them down, and finally someone called me back after 2 months of trying to figure out how we could get there, and they're like, you know, this is not, like, there's nothing really in Studio A, and Studio A is the famous studio there because it's built like a classical, like the Concertgebouw. It's got incredible acoustics, and was built by this guy named Jimmy Vitti, who built the MGM studios, and they was built for strings and horns, which is why Marvin Gaye, What's Going On, the strings were recorded there, and all the horns for Earth, Wind and Fire. So another reason, like, we gotta go.
So back in the day, the studios used to be like huge spaces, whereas now, like, they recorded, you could do it in your broom closet.
Yeah, and I did.
When we were in LA, I was on tour with a show. A friend of mine was working at this recording studio in LA, and it was Frank Sinatra recorded all. It was really weird being in that space. Like, holy shit! Because then she told me
there's juju in all those places. I mean, I believe in all that.
You can feel it.
So we walk in this place, and it's like the back of a house, and you walk in and just because it's huge. It has 60-foot ceilings, and there's a screen with George and his dreads there, and there's a Hammond Morgan from Parliament, but it's all the feeling of everyone who'd been in there. I mean, Aretha stood in the middle of that room, and Red Hot Chili Peppers, everybody. So we had to rebuild it because the console had been taken out, so we had to use interfaces, which I'd used in my apartment to record my first album that started Isotopia. And guys in the band, we rebuilt, rehooked it up, and we made a record. And in the back of my mind,
this one?
Yes, that one, Miss Velvet and the Blue Wolf, and that's called Bad Get Some. And in the back of my mind, I thought maybe George will listen to it because it was at United Sound. And not only was that right, he listened to it. We got sort of an audition with him at BB King's where we played the opening set for him. The record came out on October 27th, 2017, and on October 31st, 2017, we were on stage with him at BB King's. We were only going to get 20 minutes because the manager of the club didn't know us at all. And during our sound check, someone from P-Funk videotaped us, and I thought, they're going out to the bus showing this. And they came back in, and the manager said, you guys can start after the doors are open. Well, I mean, you can start at 7:30 and you get 40 minutes. And then we played at the Howard Theater with him, and those 2 shows have turned into 65 shows.
Girl.
And now we're going on tour next year on the One Nation Under the Groove tour with him. We're going to New Orleans after Christmas to do 2 shows at House of Blues, 27, 28 of December. And he just recorded on one of our tracks on our new album, which will be out in March.
Holy crap. Wait, aren't you performing here in the city in January? Did I read that correctly?
No, I think we're going to probably be at Rockwood in January.
She's on TGIF on January 25th.
Oh, me? I'm going to be on a show.
Yeah.
But the band, I think we might play at Rockwood in January. We don't know.
I saw.
And then I'm doing a radio.
January 19th?
I don't know. Maybe we're somewhere I don't know about.
I don't know.
And then I'm doing radio stuff for that. So
wow.
Anyway, that's
opera singer, rock. I can't even talk.
But it's all Lenny because Lenny was, the young people's concerts were like it's great if it's good music. It doesn't matter the genre. Like why would you not? If you listen to Beethoven, why wouldn't you listen to the Beatles?
But
like,
it's
like,
great that like listening to this progression of your career and all the things that you're accomplishing, and now you have this record label and you're doing all this. I mean, it's like this is all some. All,
yeah, and
all
everyone's like, you're really
happen.
crazy to have a record label.
You're not crazy.
No, because everyone listens to stuff digitally. Yes, true. But in Europe and everywhere else, people buy physical product and they buy it on the road, and they would buy it here if the fascists in the world didn't take away all the stores.
Right. If Tower Records didn't close, you would be able to buy it.
I miss Tower
because Tower
Records.
Records still exists in other parts of the world.
It
I didn't even
does.
know
Dublin
that.
has two.
Yeah,
That's
Ireland,
crazy.
United Kingdom, all over.
And Japan.
Oh.
I mean, it's just, I don't get it. And I took the band, one of the first things was we went to Tallinn Music Week in Estonia. And that was an amazing experience.
Did you eat a lot of potato?
No, they have they have a little of the Russian thing, but they've
Kidding.
got amazing food.
Really?
Estonia is Narnia. It is.
Is that the place where all the food is like?
It's incredible.
Is farm fresh?
Yes.
You pick your chicken and then like 10 minutes later.
It's way more farm fresh than here. We don't even know farm fresh.
No, we don't.
We don't. And then we went back, because we did the festival, we went back the summer of 2017 and just put out, as an experiment, I made promo copies of this to basically prove to the band that, yes, people buy CDs. And we sold out of CDs, and one guy drove an hour to our hotel to get the last copy we had.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Because people have cars there with CD players. And same when we did this tour with George last year, and we went to Grand Rapids and Lime, Ohio, and where people have cars with CDs. I mean, CD players.
Yeah.
So they do buy CDs. And then it's an urban myth. It's like if you.
I like to have a CD because I like to read the liner notes and everything else. I'm a nerd. Like, I love
No, but
that
that's not
shit.
being a nerd. It's like what I say on the Isotopia website for like the About page. Like,
www.isotopiarecords.com.
is that I have a partner label that focuses more on like Baroque and classical in Dublin, Heresy Records, is we're devoted to trying to prevent the extinction of the tactile experience of listening to music. So I didn't bring the vinyl because I forgot, but we have a really beautiful vinyl version of this that's a trifold like this, but it's on
I
vinyl.
can't wait to listen to all of this music.
I mean, I love vinyl. I love liner notes. I love seeing all the lyrics
story.
inside. And
Well, and this one I wanted to make because it's kind of operatic. It's not, though. The music is like Bjorky and more like jazz, but I
That's
wanted.
beautiful, though. That's really nicely put together.
It's like. But I also have all my product made. Sorry, not in the States because it's not price competitive. I hate that, but it's the truth. And yes, it's crazy to have a record label when everyone's saying there aren't any more. Well, because Spotify places.
Just not in America, though. I think that just as we're seeing the resurgence of vinyl now, I think that there will come a point, maybe not this year or next year, but there will come a point where we'll see the resurgence of actual physical media.
I think so,
that you could
because I
purchase
think
and feel.
But it's terrible. Their magazines are getting rid of hard copies of magazines.
Yeah.
Which I hate. I
It's terrible.
like to have it in my hands.
Who's deciding this crap? I just,
Millennials. No.
Yes. No, it's true. And it's true. We had a conversation.
Yeah, we did
earlier.
talk about this on the way.
I mean, it's ridiculous. They don't understand what they're ripping away from their soul.
Yeah.
Like, I love holding a book, reading a book.
So do
I
I.
want to be on a
Pages.
Kindle. Who wants to be on
So
a
do I,
Kindle?
but I'm also a tiny bit of a pack rat, so digital copies help me with that.
Yeah.
However, if I really like something, or if I meet somebody and I get a signed copy, I treasure that signed copy. Of a book
Absolutely,
or-
yeah.
Well, that's true for storage and all of that, but I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I guess. But the other thing is, though, music is healing. It has healing powers, literally.
Right.
And it's even being proven through all the science of vibrational frequencies for healing and using vibrational frequencies on people's bodies to heal, shrink tumors. I mean, every chord, every sound correlates to something in our body and our brain. And so if all music is only digitally produced, you have to wonder, because the frequency is different in digital music than real instruments, is it having the same effect?
Oh, that's an interesting question.
So to like this band, what's so exciting is because it's definitely old school because I'm way older and that's my memory, and everyone in the band is between the ages of like 23 and my age. But in the audiences, especially like way younger kids, they freak out that we are not, it's all live instruments. Like all the sounds are made by pedals or amps or whatever. We're not using pads, and it's real music, and the voice is real. So that's also a thing with Isotopia too, is to try to retain the power of what music really can do. And
I saw the winter concert last weekend of a music school near Montreal, and my little friend, my little 8-year-old friend, was playing drums, and he was phenomenal. This kid, I mean, they brought him out as their new star. That's what they said. But like everybody, all these students were playing multiple instruments, and like hearing all that and watching everybody kick ass and have fun and enjoy themselves. I mean, I was sitting there like, it was fantastic.
Well, speaking of that, that's Canada, so they have instruments. The thing that makes me completely nuts, I grew up in a school where we had choirs, we had orchestra, you had band.
Yes.
Now, and I went to Interlochen Music Camp, but schools, public schools, how horrible to take instruments away. I mean, then they wonder why people can't learn, their attention deficit, I mean, all this crap, because you took away the one grounding thing for everyone, which is to sing, play music, makes you smarter.
Yeah.
And back into playing music. So where can people learn more about you?
ConstanceHauman.com, isotopiarecords.com.
Of course.
And
You must go. These CDs are available, so you must go see them. You must go get them.
you can buy them on
the
Amazon, Best Buy, websites. You can listen to it digitally.
Yeah.
But if you,
as long as it's available.
and what also, the other thing we do is on iTunes, we always have an iTunes booklet. So it is a digital version of this for those people who don't want it.
That's
So thank you for having me.
no, thank you.
Thank you. You have to come back.
Yeah, when the new disc comes out, please come back.
With the George, yeah.
And we'll see if we can get in the big studio, and maybe you could sing for us in studio.
If you want.
If you want. We love it.
Really?
I would love to do that.
Really?
Like, because I could do anything from either of these acoustically. Or I could bring the whole band in here.
That would be awesome. We'll talk about that after
But
the
we
show.
need a back line. I don't know. We'll see.
Anyway,
Be fun.
thank you again. Thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching. I'm John Griffith,
I'm Cara Kilduff.
and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Merry Christmas.
See you in the new year.